as a setter, watching and understanding the other team's rotations, their defense, floor defense, their blockers, where the weaknesses are, how you take advantage of them, and how that plays into the decisions you make on the court. So the hard part about setting is the emotional roller coaster ride that can interfere with decision making. So let's say that we are about to receive serve, and the setter, the last play just happened. If we're going to receive serves, something good happened for them or bad happened for us, and that bad happening for us can affect our brain. If I'm a very emotional setter, I'm not going to get to thinking about what my decision process for this next play is going to be if I'm emotional about it, right? One of the things I really believe a lot in is that using your emotional state to help you, because it's an error. It's a sign of not pursuing greatness to have the emotions that happen from plays before make it so you can't function at the highest level on the next play. Or if they do help you or allow you to, or they're neutral enough, or you get over it quickly enough so that you can say, I'm in the next process, right? I have to know what the rotation is on the other side of the net. I have to know who the hitters are. I have to have a feeling for who's hot and who isn't, how we're passing, and all of those things need to be filtered in my brain very quickly, and they can be, so that we don't just generically repeat something here. We have to at least say, all right, here's why I'm choosing this set. So there are all kinds of times in practice where a play had happened and I'd stop playing and go, okay, Maddie Bug, who set for me for 4 years, why did you choose that? What went through your head? Right? This is really critical in terms of getting connected in the offense, because one of the things that makes the offense work in a wrong, unconnected way is the sets that your setter chooses. And so for lots of years, not every team, but lots of teams, we did that for the setter on our team, knowing that they're just learning how to do this, or they're too emotional to be able to do it right now, or we've tested it and we have results on paper of analyzing it that it isn't working well enough. And so we actually took it out of their hands and said they had to look to the bench. They had to, in fact, for me, it was really fun. My last season as a coach, Cassidy Lichtman sat just to my left, and her whole job was giving the setter help on what we should choose next. All right. She was a setter. She's very analytical. She didn't actually do it as much in a very strict rote way as I would have done it, and it probably helped. It made it work better. But her job was to have data on paper, to feel for what was happening and know what the setter felt like, and say, this is what I think you should do. And we'd have hand signals to call what combination of sets we should run, and maybe even who we should set. And the whole idea is get the setter a chance to be in the moment, all right? Get some information that said, we're doing this for you, and you might have already concluded this, but we're helping you, and we're saying, we think you should think about doing this right now. And then they could choose to do that or not. Obviously, it's their game to run, but we're trying to give them information about the game that will help them make the choices they need to. This is a very hard process to go through. Melanie Beckenauer Heller, who sat for me at UOP, she went through this in a very distinct way, even with a sports psychologist on our staff at the time, of how she could get her brain to get through as many steps as she needed to get through, and even to the point of her thinking about what I should do to make the defense think I'm not going to do this thing that I want to do. In other words, add program deception into the game. She was great at it, and it changed our team. And when she applied it, I mean, she actually did it at a very high level. So we need to get through that process for the setter to know what they're doing and making the choices we want them to make. So let's say that I want to get this, let's go back for a moment. I want to take advantage of the setter and what their feelings are that will help our connectivity. How do I get the setter not to look at the ball? Well, the first one is toss them a ball and watch their eyes, and you'll watch that their eyes never leave the ball. That's 10 feet apart. To me, that's a sign they're not reading. Just to me, like it's a sign watching diggers when they're playing pepper. When they set a ball to their partner, their eyes watch the ball the whole time and they rarely watch the hitter. Well, this is a simple situation. You should be able to control your brain and your eyes enough, because you have to do it a lot of times where you know what you're doing for it to get in here, to be able to apply it, and you be comfortable with how you're applying it. So if I set a ball to my partner and she goes like this and she's going to tip a ball, if I'm not looking, I'm not going to react until the ball leaves her hand. All right, that's too late for most diggers. They're not physically good enough to cover enough court to be able to do that. They have to see the hitter get to this position and be ready to move as soon as they see them do that. All right, so the same thing applies for a setter. When I start tossing balls to the setter, if I watch and their eyes never leave the ball, more than likely their eyes will never leave the ball in a game, and or their eyes will never, in a world vision sense, see and feel the things happening around them. So part of the time when we're training, I have to toss a ball to them and have them look away from the ball. They don't have to look away like this. They can look away in their world vision, but at least their eyes aren't unseeing of anything. So a lot of times I would walk up next to them and someone else is tossing balls, and I would show them signs that they had to read and see things, right? Or we'd put them on the court, toss some balls, and have a coach as a hitter go to a place on the court, all right, and have the setter have to call it out, just like you might do that with a blocker in the drill as well. Look at the setter when they're setting the ball, but see where hitters are coming from in their world vision. Well, we have to train the setter's world vision too. Toss balls, get them to close their eyes and set it just before it gets to them, so they get a feeling I can do this. Toss balls, get them to look away or see other things. Toss balls to them and have them look at their hand and set. All right, not look at the ball even as the setting motion works. It's really hard to do. Toss some balls and look at the ceiling and see their hands in the foreground and be able to set. That one's a little bit easier. But we have to train their eyes to work with their brain in order for them to actually get closer to maxing out the ways that they can connect with their hitters.